Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Automation Hub Sarthak. And in Python videos for automation, I'm one video behind in the English playlist. So in the previous video, I taught you about functions in Python in Hindi. So I'm trying to keep that sync alive. I'm sorry, last couple of days were as if I was extremely busy with office work, so I could not add that video up. So I'll add this video up, and then I'll add inbuilt functions in Python, both in Hindi and English as well as I'll also teach you about the global variables and local variables in Python. And after that, I will create couple of more playlists, because once we have learned a little bit about functions, we can start doing automation in Python. I'll make complete different playlists. So I've changed the name of the playlist. First it was Python automation in Hindi, Python automation in English. The thing is, if I completely teach Python with my health situation, I do not know when Python will be over. So people are still waiting out for Python automation. So what I'll do is we will do hand in hand. So I'll create couple of more playlists, which will be Python automation in English, Python automation in Hindi, and I'll start teaching basics of Python automation. So, and in the meanwhile, I'll also keep updating and uploading more Python videos, while I keep updating and uploading more videos in the Python automation playlist, which I'll create. So 2 more playlists will be created very soon after I upload around 5 more videos here in the Python playlists. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with English playlist, new Python file. So this is topic number 10, functions in Python in English. Okay, I'll add it. Fine. So I've already discussed this in Java also. A function is nothing but a block of reusable code. So function is a block of reusable code that performs a specific task. Okay, and functions also helps in breaking down the program into smaller modules, which we can use. Okay, so you don't have to do everything as a whole. You can. And technically, why do we use functions? So the answer lies in the fact that we used to avoid code repetition, we have improved readability. What is the spelling mistake? It is E. Okay, and then we use for easier debugging process, and then enabled modular programming. So these are the some of the 4 reasons why we use functions for. The Java programming function was little different. We were using public static void, or just static void, or simply void. You were making the method as, or function as default. We are using public, private, protected. So all those things we will not do. Okay, first let us learn what is the basic syntax of writing a function in Python, because even though they do the same job, how do we represent them varies. So first we use a keyword known as def. Now what def stands for, it's a definition or what, you can Google that and find out. So what we do, we use the keyword def, and then we give the name of the function. Okay, and then we open the bracket here. In Java, what happens, once you open the bracket, you have to give curly braces to open the body. No, you don't do that here. Once you open the bracket and give that bracket, this parenthesis, give a colon. The moment you give a colon, you are literally about to expand the body of the function. Once you hit enter, automatically indentation space will be given. Here, whatever you want to print or type or do the logic, whatever logic you want to do here, you do. So this is the body of the function. And then Now the thing is, so you have designed the body, so now you have removed the indentation. So if you try to execute this, technically what will you think? Whatever logic you want to print should get printed, but you will not see any output. You know why? What happens in Java? Java, you have the main method, public static void main, string args and the body, and whatever you write inside the main method, it works. If you create a method outside of the main method, then you have to call that method inside the main method to get the logic of that outside method executed within the main method, correct? But here, there is no such main method kind of a thing. So whatever method you are writing, whatever function you are writing here, that function you have to call. So call this function. That's it. Call it once. Can I call this function multiple times? Yes, you can. Call twice, call thrice, as many times as you want. This will print it 3 times. See, so this is, you can call it once, you can call it multiple times, no problem. So this is very simple. Now let's say, now this method is, this example is, this method, it doesn't have any parameters. What if you want to introduce parameters? So I'll write here, introducing parameterization in Python functions. Simple. So let me write a method name. So I'll write here, introducing parameters. This is my name of the function, and here I will introduce a parameter known as name. Make double quotes, come here. Now indentation automatically comes in, and I'll write here print the model of the Toyota car is, you can write name, okay, and then you will call this function, but here you have to do a small change. Sorry, here instead of name you will, let's say, Fortuner. Okay, so whatever name parameter you are passing, you are passing that parameterized value here, and then you right click, run, it will print. Okay, very simple. Parameterization is very simple. Let's say you want to, so this string is simple. What if you want to introduce any other thing? So let's say you will write def parameterization for, let's say, marks, and you will write here, let's say, final percentage. Okay, let's say you want to have the final percentage, how much you got marks in the final, whatever. So now you write print my final semester marks were something like this, and you will write here this value, final percentage. Okay, and now, and you will write, you will call this method, and here you, let's say you got 90%, you write 90.03. This is also fine, you got 90.03%. So this way also you can write. Okay, now let's move on to let's say function with certain return value. So function, do you think this text font is smaller for you guys? So let me try to make it a little bit big. Settings, font, let me make it 18. Hopefully, yep, this looks much better. So function with return value. Now how will this help you? See, it's like something, you are using the return keyword to get certain values returned. We use return keyword in Java functions as well. So here let us try, it's very simple. So use def, let's say I want to add or you can do subtract, whatever. Let's say do subtract. So this is the name of the function, subtract a comma b. You give the double quote, sorry, you give the colon, hit enter, indentation happens. So here you write return a minus b. Make sense? And then you have come out of the function body, you write result equals to subtract a, you give like 20, b you give 10. Automatically whatever parameters that you are passing the values, it will automatically assign a to 20 and b to 10. So you don't start writing a b here, makes no sense, because a b you have already written. Like here your final percentage you have written, you are writing 90.03. Here the name you have written, you are writing Fortuner. So here a b you have written. So technically you are trying to enter two integers. So 20, 10 you will write, whatever you want to write, you write, but they should be integers. Now let's say print the subtraction value of the subtracted value is, you give here result, simple. So it will print 20 minus 10 is 10. I forgot comma, right click, run as, see, very simple. So here you can use return in this particular way to also execute your function logic. Now there is something else here in the parameterization, in the function name, we are adding a particular variable, and that variable, that parameter, technically we are giving that value when we are calling that function name, correct? So here we will use function with default parameters. So what I'll do is, instead of writing a model name equal to Fortuner, I will write it directly. Okay, so let me write here model name, makes sense. Okay, so here I'll give the model name directly there. So what do I mean? So let's say I'll create a function known as default parameter, and here I will write model name equals to Fortuner. Here itself I will declare it. Okay, colon, hit enter, and then I'll write print the model of the Toyota car is, you simply have to write model name. That's it. And now when you call this function, you can directly call this without passing the value of the model name here, like we used to do like we did in the normal parameterization. Here you are passing the default parameter here itself. So simply if you call it, then also it will print the model of the car is Fortuner. And let's say for example you want to decide, okay, no, I don't want to go for a Fortuner, I will go for a Toyota Tundra. Great. Then what do you have to do? You simply write default parameter, and you write here Tundra. And now if you do the output, next one Tundra will be printed. So even if you write the default parameter value equal to this, still you can change it here, so it will still work. Okay, now let's go ahead with one more code, function with keyword arguments. Okay, so let me write describe a pet. Oh, sorry, I forgot def. Describe pet. So let's say pet underscore name, and I'll write breed equal to Labrador. Okay, so here I am passing two parameters. One parameter is just a parameter. This parameter breed is actually acting like a default parameter. See here guys, I am doing parameterization. Two parameters I have introduced. First parameter is just a parameter. This breed parameter is not a simple parameter, rather it's a default parameter. Why? Because I've already assigned a value to this parameter here itself. Okay. Now I will get print I have a. So what I'll do, I'll have a breed. Okay. Plus I'll give some space, plus I'll write whose, and whose name is, I'll write here pet underscore name. Fine. And then I'll call describe pet. First I'll have to call my pet's name Romeo. So now right click, I have a Labrador whose name is Romeo. Simple. If you want to change describe underscore pet, you can write here Buzo, and let's say it is a German Shepherd. This one will also work in the next line. I have a German Shepherd whose name is Buzo. Simple, guys. I'm introducing multiple parameters, one with a normal parameter and the other one acting like a default parameters, and this is how I'm able to execute my logic. You can have more multiple parameters. So let's say diff sum of 5 numbers. So this is a function I have used, a comma b comma c comma d comma e. So here I have written this. So this one is very simple. So what we will do, print a plus b plus c plus d plus e. Then you will call that method sum of 5 numbers and give here 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50. Simple. So if you execute this code, 150 is the value. Simple. You can do that. Now let's undergo function with arbitrary arguments. Okay. Spelling, what am I doing? Okay. Now arbitrary arguments means the parameter name should be star args. This is kind of predefined. We will learn about predefined or inbuilt functions in the next video, but this is just a small example I want to give. So here I'll write, let's say def add whatever numbers you want to add, and here I do not know how many numbers you want to add. So I do not know how many parameters or arguments I need to pass. Args is nothing but arguments. Like each parameter is known as one argument. This is typical language. So let's return the sum. Okay, and here I'll pass the args. Correct? And now I'll write print add underscore numbers, and here I'll give whatever 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. I can give as many arguments as I want. So this is when you do not want to control your number of parameters. So this is arbitrary arguments is nothing but arbitrary parameters. Right click, run. See, 5500, it is printing. So choice is yours. Again, these are something I do not know how much you will use in automation scope of things, but it is good to know that you are not restricted to one parameter or one default parameter or just one default and one normal parameter. You can write a lot of parameters, unlimited lot of parameters using star args. Star represents all, args represents arguments or parameters. So this is one thing which I wanted you to know. So now let's go with the input function. Again, input function is an inbuilt function, and I've already discussed about input function in my previous videos. If you would go and check for loops and though in if else and all, I think I have taught about input function, but here I will discuss little bit more in depth about the inbuilt input function. And of course, other input functions, see, there are more than 65 inbuilt functions in Python. I will not be able to explain all of them. But from an automation perspective, which all inbuilt functions are required, I will tell you that in the other video. Input function is a very important function, which is an inbuilt function in Python, which is also used in automation quite a lot. So I'll tell you. Now, with strings, input function is very easy. It's very straightforward, no problem. So it is easy and straightforward when it comes to using strings. So how? So let's say I'll write first name equal to, I'll write input, enter your first name. Simple. Then I'll write last name equal to, give the input function, enter your last name. Simple. Save. Now you write print full name is first name, sorry, my bad, first name plus, I'll give a space, last name. So if I do this, it will ask me to enter the first name. Right click, run as. You see the output. It is asking me to enter first name. Let's say I'll write here John. It is asking me to enter last name, Sina. Full name is John Sina. Simple, no problem. So using strings, it is extremely simple, because at the end, this is also string which is concatenated with another string, which is concatenated with another string. So string concatenates with string, and string makes it anyways fine. There is no problem. The trick comes when we use input functions with integers. So let us understand this. So let's say first number equal to input, enter your first number. Fine. Then second number equal to input, enter your second number. Fine. And then print adding both the numbers, sum is first number plus second number. Now if you see this, okay, this one it will ask me, fine, it's okay. Even if it asks first name, last name, I'll give it. So here, but no, it's okay. Let me comment it for a certain time. I don't want to do it multiple times. Hold on. You practice it once you are done. Now let me execute this part. Enter your first name, it is asking, let's say 100. Enter your second number, 200. Everybody will be expecting output as 300, but the output will be 100, 200. That is the challenge that we face here. Why? Because this is a string. String concatenates with string. So now you'll say, okay, sir, why don't you give it like this? This will make our life easier, right? So let us do this again. 100, 200. Again, this is not going to work. You see, the point is here it is taking as a string. So you cannot, even if you keep in brackets a string, cannot, because see, input function by default takes a string. You cannot just play around here like this. Then there is one more alternative. What is that alternative? Well, you can edit it here itself. So I'll give you multiple alternatives. This alternative is not going to work. Whether you give it like this, or you give it within the bracket or without the bracket, whatever, it is still not going to work. I'll bring it back again. So now let me try a different approach. I'll write number 1 equal to, here it is representing a string because input function default value is a string. So here what I'll do is I'll convert this string into typecast into integer. So what I'll do, input wait, input, enter number 1, and then I'll typecast this into this. Simple. So now whatever this will return, it will return in the form of an integer. Similarly, number 2, I will just copy this and paste it here, and I'll change here to number 2. So now I'll print sum now is number 1 plus number 2. Okay, number 1 plus number 2. Why it is giving me error? Okay, so let us run this. We'll see. So this one will ask again. Okay, now it is enter number 1 10, enter number 2 20. Again it is creating a problem. See, again it is creating a problem. Why it is creating a problem? Why after doing this also we are not able to work? Why is this creating such kind of an issue? So what if I do it like this? Let's try this. Again it is creating a problem. Correct? So bracket is not the solution, guys. Bracket is technically not the solution here. Either you don't give this statement, simply write like this, then your problem is solved. Okay, so this one also I will give comments. It is irritating me. Hold on. Now this one problem is solved. If you write 100 and give 200, you generally write 300. But this is not the right way of representing a print statement. So when you are representing something like this, sum of two numbers. So technically, this part is a string. Now when you are using a plus symbol and you are using, hold on, scam callers, number 1 and number 2. So what is happening is, so you will say, sir, this has actually turned into an integer, then what's wrong? Because this part is a string. Even if it has converted, it will now be appended in the form of a string. So it is not going to change. Adding this makes no difference. So what do? You give a bracket, and then for simple reasons, you convert this to string. Because this is currently in the form of an integer, these two values, which is again converted to, you are typecasting to string. So the mathematical function will happen here. This string concatenates with this mathematical value, which has again become a string. So it is becoming simple. So now so this is all about functions in English, which I have mentioned. So please practice this. It might look, you should practice this. You will face certain difficulties when you practice this. And then in the next video, I will explain a little bit about inbuilt functions in Python, which are good for our automation purpose. There are more than 60 inbuilt functions in Python. I cannot teach everything. And it is not required also. Whatever is required for automation, we'll stick to that. So thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe. I would love to have 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. I saw my analytics. 75% of the people who watch my videos, they don't subscribe. Only 25% have subscribed. So this is only 25% of my subscribers. I think my channel deserves a little bit more. So kindly subscribe. Thank you so much. Sarthak here, signing off.